Hi, it's Tess, and today's tip 450, and I'm looking at how to make results that last with weight loss. And I've been reading that book by James Clear, Atomic Habits, and he had a lot of great things that he talked about. It's a great book. It was highly recommended, and I really enjoyed it. And basically, what he kind of talks about throughout the whole book is that we all try to take on too much. And I see somebody on, so hello, thank you for being here. We try to take on too much all at once. And what we really need to do is, in anything in our life, break it down to a 1% change. And as we take those 1% changes and make them a habit, we take the next 1% change and it builds up. And eventually we landslide to our goal. It's more sustainable. And then it's that unrelenting, continual progress, 1% at a time, that will lead you to the finish line. He kind of gave us like 4 tips, 4 things that you can do that will help you to build a habit. And he said that the first one is basically, sometimes a habit is hard to remember, so you have to make it easy. And in making a habit easy, like Doc V was talking about push-ups. If he wanted to garden, he had to push up first. I think he also talked about he wanted to play guitar, so he had to put the guitar out in the open. Some people, if they're struggling with getting their smoothies in, they have to leave the smoothie maker out on the counter. For me, I think getting my walk in the morning before I have time to talk myself out of it, that works for me. So find the thing that you can do that will make it easy for you to get it. And that's how I look at in the beginning, that's how I looked at my walk. I got up and I got the walk in, because then I got it out of the way. Now it's actually something I look forward to. So if a habit is hard, get it down to something that's easier, even if that means making it a smaller goal. The second thing he said is, sometimes you don't feel like starting, and you got to make it attractive. And that kind of even could go back to what I was saying about Doc V, like he wanted to garden, so in order to garden, he had to do push-ups. If you want to go out with your friends, you have to do something else first. If you want to watch a series on TV that is absolutely the thing that you love, maybe you got to finish a chapter in your book or something like that. Find a way to make it attractive, to make you want to do it. And I'll say, even for me in the morning now, at this time of year when the sun comes up, I like the walk because I see the sunrise. So it's always like the mystery. Will I get the colorful sunrise when I make it back home? So that is attractive to me. I love that. And I love counting the bunnies. How many of nature's animals will I see on the path? The third thing that he talks about in trying to create permanent results that will last is, sometimes a habit is hard. Sometimes habits are hard to make easier. I think I didn't write that down exactly right. Sometimes a hard habit has to be made easier. So that would be kind of like, instead of saying I'm going to run a marathon, you'll break it down to, I'm going to run 1 minute every 30 minutes, or I'm just going to put on my tennis shoes and walk 1 mile. So if a habit is hard, break it down to a smaller increment. You probably took on too much. They do talk in this book, and in a lot of areas that I've been reading, we do tend to take on too much. That's why a lot of these books are talking about 1% changes, micro habit changes, small changes, little steps at a time. So if a habit is too hard for you to get into it, you've made it too tough, and you got to break down the habits. And it's kind of like they were talking about, you want to become a runner, so you just put on your shoes and you run for a minute. But make it the small thing for what you want, not that you're working on the marathon. The fourth one he came up with was, you won't feel like, if you don't feel like sticking with it, you need to make it satisfying. So, and in trying to think about that one, and I'm not remembering any examples off the top of my head, but like I'll say, when I was training for bicycle rides and stuff, there was something about that feeling of the medal, getting the medal and holding that medal for a period of time. Or how can you make it satisfying? Maybe you want to buy this new workout outfit, but in order to get the new workout outfit, you have to do certain type of a workout. Something to make it satisfying. Maybe it's you get to swim laps in the pool, or maybe you get to go to a hot tub, or maybe you need to get your nails done. But find some way to make it satisfying. It is kind of like anything. Everyone knows I tutored reading and math, and I taught in a lot of what like these are telling us to do in habits. It's a continual process. It's a step-by-step process. It's a little bit of an improvement over time. It's not a permanent solution. It's a work in progress. You just don't stop. And those are words Doc V says all the time. Just don't stop. And he kind of talks about that tiny will create remarkable results. And I think that's really true, because even for me this time, sometimes at one time they were calling me the inch by inch girl, because it's been 6.5 years and I haven't hit goal weight yet, but I continue to go down slowly. But ever so often I have to change something, whether it's I walk a little bit more, or I exercise in a different way, or I change and get rid of a certain food that I'm eating because I can replace it with something better. So I am accepting this journey to be one that's going to change every day, and I'm more successful. And I am doing small habits. I am the person in the past who used to come up with a list of 300 things, and I wanted to do all 300 things every single day. It wasn't reasonable, and I couldn't operate that way. So I hope you find this hopeful. I'll kind of summarize it again. He says this is the secrets to making any change last. And it's that you need to make 1% changes. You need to drill down to a very small item that you're going to change, and you build those 1% changes over time. Because eventually what happens is those 1% changes build a mountain, and it'll tumble you forward, and you'll be surprised at how far you've gotten. Well, hi, Lena, good to see you. So just 1% change. And that, again, is The One Thing by James Cleary. All you need is just a 1% change a day. This journey for anything that we want to achieve in life, it's tiny, sustainable, unrelenting, endless process. Step by step, day by day, we just keep moving forward. So good to see you. And he says, like, you need a system of change, and I think it's just an identifying, like I think about, or I keep in mind, if I've changed a habit, I can't let a day go by. If a day goes by that I don't do the habit, I got to get back on it, or it goes back on the to-do list, because I don't want to have to relearn habits that I've already gotten. But it's that 1% change each day that will help you to build the habit that will carry you to the next step of your journey. The 4 things he said is, if a habit's hard, you got to make it. If a habit is hard to remember, you have to make it obvious. If you need your smoothie maker on your counter, bring it out. If you're trying to learn an instrument, put it in front of you. Maybe you put your workout clothes, if you're working out in the morning, out with your shoes in the morning for when you get up. Try to make it, like when I wanted to start waking up earlier, I actually trained my animals to get a treat in the morning. So whether I wanted to get up or not, I had to get up, because they wouldn't stop until I gave them their treat. So find something that will make it, if it's hard, make it obvious. Sometimes if you don't feel like starting, you got to make it attractive. And I think maybe that's why, like, sometimes people buy new shoes, or they'll buy a new outfit, or I think he said it in this book or another book. Maybe you can even have a jar, and it can be a trip overseas, or like some kind of a reward if you do so many days. So maybe you put a picture of the trip you want to go on, and you put money in each time you work out, and that you've got to earn the trip. So anything like that you can find that's attractive. And maybe that's what it is. Just put a picture of something you want in a jar, and then you put a certain amount of money in. Or you get to buy, go to a special place, get your nails done, get a manicure. It's kind of that rewards thing. And the third one was, if a habit's hard, make it easier. Break it down to that smaller step. If it's hard, you haven't gotten it down to that 1%. Because if you're saying, I can't run 5 miles, well, maybe you're only supposed to be running 1 minute. You took on too much. I'm guilty of that. I used to always do that. I've had to pull myself back. And I've been able to maintain the journey longer because I pulled myself back. I I accept and appreciate and feel successful with the small changes now, because it does happen that there'll be a point in time that I'll turn back and I'll look and I'll go, wow, I didn't realize that much had happened. And sometimes that's kind of fun, but it's fun because you're still in the journey. You're not in the starting block waiting to get started again. You're actually down the road and surprised. And it kind of goes back to something Doc V has been saying lately, but you'll never be able to, when you're creating like a puzzle, like a connect the dots type thing, you can't create the connect the dots in front of you. When it really comes together, when it meshes, is when you look behind you. You see why all the different paths brought you together. And I thought that was kind of interesting because it's true. I would have never thought of, and I know I've said this before, but the going live is an accountability for me. It's not anything I ever thought, but I think that being live causes me to keep in my mind always what my journey is and that I want to represent in the best possible way. So sometimes you're not going to see what the help was until you look back on it. So be open-minded and try everything. It might really be something that you truly love. The next one is, I said I'll do this real quick again. If a habit is hard, if a habit is hard to remember, you have to make it obvious. So if you're forgetting to do your push-ups, find a way to make it out in obvious to you that you have to do it. If you don't feel like doing something, make it attractive. If you have a habit that's hard, it's just hard, make it simpler. And if you don't feel like sticking with it, try to make it satisfying. What can you do? Like the jar with a picture of where you're going, and you get to put the money in every time you complete a task or a skill. And remembering that any change is a continual process. And this is even when I tutored, it was like this. So why I didn't connect the dots before, I wasn't looking back like Doc V said. Continual process. It's no finish line. It's no permanent solution. It's a living, breathing journey that we're going to be improving on every day. But if you take it down to that 1%, you find a way to make it attractive, you find a way to keep it, a memory of it, and you find a way to make it easier if it gets too hard, you'll find that there's a momentum that builds up, and it's really, really exciting. It's one of those things, and anybody in the tribe knows this. Doc V always says, just don't stop. Because when you stop is when you fall back, and you have to go back to those 1% habits. They come a little faster, but why go back if you can just keep moving forward? And tiny will create remarkable results, because tiny long-term will take you a lot farther than 500% for one day will. So I hope you find this useful. I will be on live tomorrow too. Maybe earlier tomorrow. I'm still trying to get my schedule down from being back in the office, but I will talk to you guys soon. Have a beautiful night, and I will go live in Doc V's group over the weekend. I did go live last night in that group, but I will do it over the weekend also. So thank you for being here. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. And I'm off to hit one of my habits now. I got to get some words in on my book. So have a good day, and thank you for being here.